Period blood is not always red. Its color can vary, and this might be confusing or even a bit alarming. Hey there, wonderful ladies, it's DN Fit, and in today's video, let's chat about the various colors of period blood. We'll bust some myths, have a friendly conversation, and explore what these colors might tell you about your overall health. Stay tuned for an informative and friendly discussion. Ever had a moment during your period where you noticed something unexpected? Before we continue, a quick reminder. This video is for educational purposes only. If you have any medical concerns, always consult with your doctor. Now back to the topic at hand, and if you haven't already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with our informative content. Imagine going to change your pad or tampon and finding a mysterious black blob. It can be a little startling, right? You might even think, did that just come out of me? But fear not, that jelly-like stuff is just old blood doing its thing. It hangs out in the vagina, gets a chance to clot, and voila, it turns from liquid to jelly. Sometimes it's also the lining of your uterus, endometrium, bidding farewell during your period. If you're someone dealing with heavy periods, you're more likely to spot this intriguing phenomenon. The endometrium can decide to break away in chunks, giving you a closer look at this unique aspect of menstruation. And here's the fun part. If you pick it up and rub it between tissues, you'll discover it's not truly black. It's more like a really deep red. Our bodies sure have some fascinating ways of keeping us on our toes during that time of the month. It's totally fine to examine what's coming out during your period. It's your body, and understanding what's happening is a part of taking care of yourself. So don't be shy to have a closer look if you're curious. Now let's talk about another instance when you might encounter black period blood towards the end of your period. As your flow slows down, the blood takes its time to make its way out, resulting in a lighter bleed. During this leisurely exit, the blood gets a chance to oxidize, giving it that black appearance. Now let's debunk some myths about black period blood. One common misconception is that it signals a blockage in the vagina. But relax, black period blood doesn't necessarily mean there's a blockage. If there were a real blockage, you'd likely experience an absence of periods or painful periods, not just a change in color. The most common culprit for a blockage in the vagina is a forgotten tampon. But here's the catch. A forgotten tampon doesn't alter the color of your period blood. Instead, it's more likely to give you a not-so-pleasant-smelling vaginal discharge. In general, black period blood isn't something to stress about. However, if you notice unusually large clots, or if you're feeling unusually tired or lethargic during your period, it's a good idea to chat with your doctor. They can help ensure everything is A-OK and offer guidance if needed. Your well-being always comes first. Brown period blood is simply blood that has been oxidized. You'll often spot this at the start or end of your period when the flow is light, and the blood takes its sweet time making its way out, mingling with oxygen along the way. Think of it like leaving a nail outside. It becomes rusty. Similarly, brown period blood happens because the blood has had a chance to combine with oxygen, giving it that distinct hue. Another time you might see this is in the morning when you've been lying flat for a while and the blood gathers in the vagina. Now let's tackle some myths. Brown blood can show up due to your regular period, post-sex bleeding from cuts or scrapes in the vagina, or spotting between periods, among various other causes. But here's the deal. It doesn't reveal the cause, it just says, hey, there's a light bleed here, and it took its time turning brown. One myth we need to bust is that this is old blood from your previous month's period. Nope, the uterus doesn't have secret hiding spots. It's more like an upside-down pear, smooth and with curves. Normal anatomy doesn't allow blood to hide for a month and then decide to make an appearance. And here's a fun one. Eating iron-rich foods won't magically make your period blood darker. Even if it did on some microscopic level, you wouldn't notice a change in color. Let's remember, periods are a normal bodily function, not something gross or disgusting. Embrace the science behind it. Now let's talk about a color you're probably quite familiar with. Red. You'll typically see this color at the beginning and maybe the middle of your period. It simply means the blood is flowing out at a steady rate. It's not slow and it hasn't had the chance to be oxidized. However, here's an important point to consider. Just because your period blood is red doesn't automatically mean everything's A-OK. One common myth is that if your period is red, it's all good and healthy. While there's some truth to it, it can also lead to a false sense of security. Why? because there are other reasons for red bleeding that can be mistaken for your period. Conditions like cervical polyps, bleeding between periods due to various causes, post-sex bleeding, which might be linked to an STI, or bleeding from an ectopic pregnancy, all can present as red. So, here are 2 key lessons to remember. Not all vaginal bleeding is a period, and bright red bleeding from the vagina doesn't guarantee that what you're seeing is normal menstrual blood. Let's delve into the world of pink period blood, something you might encounter when the flow is really light, like at the beginning of your period. It's a result of the blood being diluted by vaginal discharge or cervical fluid. Now, there are a couple of myths floating around about pink period blood. One suggests that it means you're low in estrogen. The truth is, being low in estrogen is more likely to mess with your period's regularity or even make it stop rather than changing its color to pink. Interestingly, having high estrogen, like when you're on the combined oral contraceptive pill, can actually make your flow lighter, leading to pinkish hues due to dilution or darker shades when oxidized. The bottom line, your period blood can be pink whether you have low, high, or normal estrogen levels. Now, here's an interesting myth. Period blood being purple. Human blood is typically red because of the heme component in the hemoglobin of red blood cells. So, purple period blood, not a thing. And just to clarify, your period blood shouldn't be gray. If you notice gray vaginal discharge, that could be a sign of bacterial vaginosis. But when it comes to the rainbow of period colors, pink is just another variation that's perfectly normal. Let's bust a few more myths. One common misconception is that watery-looking period blood means you're anemic. In reality, anemia doesn't change the color of your period. If your period blood looks watery, it's more likely due to being diluted by vaginal discharge or cervical fluids. Now, here's a big one. The color of your period blood doesn't provide a magical window into your overall health. The truth is, it can vary for so many reasons. The flow rate, exposure to oxygen, and whether the blood has been diluted all play a role in determining its color. If your flow rate is quick, you'll see bright red. If it's slower, it might combine with oxygen and oxidize, appearing dark red, brown, or even black. Dilution by cervical fluid or vaginal discharge can give it a pinkish hue. While most period blood colors can be perfectly normal, it's crucial not to diagnose yourself based on them. If you ever have concerns or questions about your menstrual health, reaching out to your doctor is the best way to get accurate information and guidance. Remember, your health is important and professionals are there to help. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please do share it.